Joining me now is political analyst Karim Boulos. Thank you so much for joining us, Karim.
My pleasure.
How does this new Léger poll look for Premier François Legault and the CAQ?
Well, it's troublesome for many reasons. I think the shine is wearing off. I think people are, they vote someone out. They rarely vote somebody in. I think this is more of a protest vote. The Léger poll, I believe, came out just after the announcement of the budget with a massive deficit. So it's not surprising, Mr. Legault's popularity during the COVID era and a little bit after, doling out money and checks made him obviously very popular at that time. But I think that shine is wearing off and people are seeing through the cracks of education, of the healthcare system, of, pointing fingers at, he went to war against the unions, and that's never a good idea in Quebec. And so it's very unsurprising to see these numbers.
What do you make of the poll respondents favoring a PQ majority government?
Well, I think Mr. Saint-Pierre Plamondon has done a very good job of positioning himself as an articulate defender of Quebecers. His manifesto of sorts that talks about how wealthy Quebec would be had it were it on its own, which of course no one really challenged, and I think people would have a right to challenge those numbers. Showed a very bright picture, or painted a very bright portrait of Quebec in the future. He's been a good news kind of source and a positive message, which, historically has always resonated well with voters. So it's not surprising. And this is continuing on the same momentum that he had during the campaign. The last 3 weeks of the campaign were fantastic, and I think he's been riding that wave for the last year and a half.
Will a poll like this have any sway on the next provincial election in 2026?
I think it's too far from 2026 to worry about the poll in 2024. I think these numbers reflect what happened with the budget. It reflects what happens with the teacher strike that's very fresh in people's minds. The blaming of the deficit on the teachers, the healthcare system, inefficiencies are still fresh in people's minds. People typically are affected by the last 3-4 weeks, even last 2 months before the election, for making up their minds. We'll see promises, we'll see gifts, we'll see new programs being announced prior to the election. So it's hard to say, but certainly Mr. Legault's ultimate reign in 90 plus seats is in jeopardy next election.
Thank you so much for joining us, Karim.
It's my pleasure.